I live just outside of Kyiv, right, to the south of Kyiv, and we have a military, so an air force base nearby from the Ukrainian air force, of course, and apparently they started bombing it. The Russians started bombing this base and everything around at 5 o'clock on. So it was on Thursday. I'm actually lost. I don't even know what date it is today. 24th. Yeah, so Thursday 24th at 5 o'clock in the morning. So from my balcony, I have a really good view. I mean, there's a big field, a wide field, and we could actually see the explosions and we could feel the blasts, right? I was actually afraid that the windows would shatter and the actual building was shaking even. So this is how we woke up, and this is how we understood that the Russians weren't only coming, but that they had already come. Yeah, so you can imagine the stress, the worry. Kids woke up. I have two children, a daughter of 8 years old and a son of 4, well, almost 5. So my son is a bit small to understand what was going on, but my daughter started absorbing everything immediately. So it was very difficult. Was very difficult to calm the kids down.
Do you feel safe where you are right now, or are you planning to move further away from danger?
No, I don't. I don't feel safe, and I don't have any other place to go because, you know, it's difficult to know what is true and what isn't now. Right? I mean, the news they show what they have, but they don't have the whole picture. I think so, anyway. So at the moment where we are, we believe that we are already behind enemy lines. The Russians, as far as I understood from all the different bits of information that I've been gathering, they are not, so they are taking town by town, village by village, but they're not actually staying there. They're just running through. They're hurrying. They're making a tunnel to Kiev. So I believe that their target is Kyiv, the capital, right? And so I think that we've been overtaken already. Though I'm happy to say that the Air Force base nearby is still active.
Has it been difficult to get hold of the essentials, such as petrol, food, that sort of thing?
Yes, absolutely. I've always been the kind of person who always has food and extra water at home just in case. And the funny thing is that I've been called crazy in the past, and it turns out that I wasn't so crazy after all. Yesterday I tried going to the nearest supermarket, which is like a 5-minute walk from my flat. And when I got there, first of all, I'd been told through the whole day that the supermarket was absolutely full of people. This panic buying, right? So I decided to leave it for later. I knew that the risk was that there wouldn't be any food, but I didn't want to fight with people, especially because I do have some food at home. But just to give you a clear picture, when I got there in the early evening, all the shelves were basically empty. Yeah, shelves actually even absolutely empty. The people who work there, they told me that they had already refilled the whole supermarket 2 times that day. Yeah, and it was absolutely empty. We have 3 pharmacies nearby, of which only 1 was working, and the queue was about 200 to 300 meters. Yeah, so obviously there was no point in standing in such a queue.
Lots of Gibraltarians and of course people all around the world have been worried about the prospect of conflict, and now it's here. What would your message be to those watching with interest here on The Rock?
Well, first of all, I'd like to thank all these people who have been contacting me via Messenger and Facebook in general. I have a lot of family in Gib and quite a lot of friends from when I lived there. I mean, I moved to Ukraine 22 and a half years ago. But friends and family, they're always there. And I'm very thankful for the support that they're giving. I know that many people are concerned and they are worried about all this. My message, what can I say? Don't take your future for granted, because we would never in 100 years think that as mad as the Russian president is, I don't want to say his name, I feel sick saying his name. So as mad as the Russian president is, we would never have thought that he would actually do it. And he has, so don't take your future for granted. And another message that I would like to say is, if you could put some pressure not on the local government because they are doing what they can, but to try to help convince NATO to close our airspace. The Russians are killing us because of the airspace. And many cities around Europe, they are protesting, not protesting, they are showing their support for us. And, they're starting to ask NATO, to ask their countries to put a bit of pressure just to close the airspace. So this would be a big help.
The Ukrainian government has announced compulsory military service for all men of fighting age. Presumably you're not included, but do you know people who've been drafted?
Of course I do. As I said, I've been living here for so long that I have so many friends, colleagues, and acquaintances. And I know as a fact that men, I don't remember the age, but I believe it is from the age of 18 to 55, but I'm not sure about the 55. From 18 for sure. They're not allowing them to leave because somebody has to defend the country. And there is also such a rule when it comes to leaving Kyiv. Yeah, so it's not only the country, but actually leaving Kyiv. They're asking people to stay, to enroll in the defense of the capital. And actually, they're being handed out weapons, machine guns, and anything. Yeah, to make it harder for the Russians because they are already at Kiev's doorstep. So this is true. This is a fact. Yes, men cannot leave. Ukrainian men cannot leave the country. I have not been at the actual frontier, the border with Poland and that. So I don't know if anybody tries whether they would use physical force to stop them. I don't think so because Ukraine is behaving with its own people as they should, fantastically. But I suppose we do have this rule at the moment, and I suppose that this is true, that they won't be able to leave, yes. Yeah, the majority of men actually they don't want to leave. If anything, they are accompanying their family however they can to the border with Poland, and then they're going back.
You moved to Ukraine over 20 years ago. What was it that initially brought you there? Can you give us a picture of your life in Ukraine?
Well, the reason I came here is rather long and not interesting, but why I stayed. Right, so I came here on holiday for about a week. I liked it, and I just stayed. Well, I went back, fixed up my life there, and then came here. The people are fantastic here. The people are great. I mean, you find bad people everywhere, right? But in general, Ukrainians are great people. They're hardworking people, right? And they love peace. Oh, the cuisine is fantastic as well. Yeah, so it is a fantastic country to come, and I hope that once we beat the Russians back, that you could come and see it by yourself.
And how do you see things panning out? What do you anticipate will happen in the coming days?
So judging by the speed that the Russians are trying to get Kyiv, right? They are ignoring almost everything else, and they're just going straight for Kyiv. So I imagine that this is a priority for them, not only Kyiv but speed is a priority. So I think that if we hold, and we will hold Kyiv for at least 2 more nights, right? I think that Russians would probably start suffering due to the amounting casualties, due to lack of resources. Russia is trying to put a very brave, aggressive face, but the majority of us believe that they do not have the resources to do what they actually wanted, especially if we drag this out. Yeah. So I'm thinking that if in 2 days Kiev doesn't fall, this will become a much longer conflict. I believe that Kiev is already actually being sieged, surrounded and sieged. If not already, I think tonight, the latest. So there is a lot of evidence we hear, right? There is a lot of evidence there's Russian tanks coming from all angles, especially from the north. They're going straight for Kiev, ignoring everything else. So this is what I think, and what many other people think here, that it either sorts itself out in the next 2 days, or this is going to be a drawn out engagement, which will make Russia suffer and hopefully make them go home.
And is there anything else you'd like to tell us? Any other message you'd like to pass on?
Well, there is so much I would like to say, but a lot of that I'd keep to myself. Just it's unbelievable what's happening. It's absolutely unbelievable. Even after going through this for 2 days, right, non-stop, you still find yourself wondering, like, is this true? like what's happening? And it's unreal, surreal. And I have quite a few friends and acquaintances, colleagues from work who are actually serving now, defending, being brave, and they don't respond, they don't reply to messages now, which makes me think that either they're dead, or I don't know, maybe some issues with the connection, but I don't think so, because we have rather good internet, rather good provider service, phone service everywhere. So if they're not responding, it's probably because they're not here anymore. So it's surreal. It's surreal, and yeah, that's probably. And also, when you have a family and that, it makes everything very difficult. You cannot just pick up and leave. So and believe me, I'm a person who plans things, but it happened so fast that no planning would have saved you. Yeah, we are so proud of the Ukrainian army, so very proud. They're stopping, they're blocking, and they're pushing the Russians back at every turn. And Russia outnumbers us like what, 5-1 more, yeah, and we're still pushing them back on all fronts. Right, so these lads, the majority of who are really young, they're all heroes, and we are absolutely and completely proud of them. They've been trained well, in many cases, by our foreign allies, by Britain. Britain has done a good job of sending instructors and helping the army build up, and they've done a good job, and it's visible. The Ukrainian army has high spirits. They're defending their home, they're defending our families, and we will win. There's no other way.